Good morning and welcome back to week 4 of graphic design. So I have our calendar pulled up. Let's look and see what you guys are going to do for this week. This week we are jumping into typography. This is a 2-week unit, and so this week is really just getting you a taste of all things typography. You're going to go through all the basics. Next week you'll be doing a handwritten project with it. But this week, you'll see you're already off to a good start. You're watching the weekly update. And then for today, I'd like you to take notes on all the resources found in the Typography Basics playlist folder. So everything from this week is now in Unit 3 in Schoology, Typography, including that playlist. So if I pull up my graphic design in Schoology, and I come down to typography, you'll notice I have Typography Basics right there at the very top. And I've got quite a few little videos. None of them are too long, but they're all pretty important to make sure that you really understand the basics of why choosing an appropriate text is important. And so they talk about that in the typography psychology video. The typography basics video has a lot of really good information about terminology and different kinds of font families. Tips to choose typography is going to help you with your assignment this week. And also there's an article that goes into a little more detail with that and includes some type examples that you can easily see. And then typography can sometimes be a heated topic because there are certain types, certain fonts that are really despised. And so there's a quick video over the top 3 fonts that are despised, the worst fonts. And then a little bonus game for you if you want to try it out. So that's everything in that playlist. If I go back to your schedule, after you're done with that today, then at some point today or tomorrow, I need you to take the Typography Basics quiz. This is also, just like everything else, found in Unit 3. So it's right here. It's a 10-question quiz, mainly multiple choice, a couple true or false. Make sure that you have your notes from the Typography Basics playlist prior to taking that quiz. You're welcome to use those notes, but that's going to be really important because you can only take this quiz once. So make sure you wait until you're totally ready to take it and you feel like you have a good understanding of the terminology and the main things that you learned from the Typography Basics playlist. Then I go back to your calendar. On Friday, I want you to go ahead and start watching. We actually have videos linked with our discussion this week. So if I go back, here is weekly discussion number 3 is actually a folder this week. And it's got a short playlist talking about arguably the 2 most despised fonts, Comic Sans and Papyrus. Some of you guys might know what I'm referring to, maybe have heard this before, but if not, and even if you have, these are really interesting. These videos go over a little bit of the history of the design of those fonts and then why they're hated. The Comic Sans video even talks about, like, it tries to defend Comic Sans in some ways. So watch those. That's really important because then here's your discussion. And for this week's discussion, it says that both of these 2 fonts are regarded as the worst. But besides these 2, I want you to pick out one that you dislike or you would never use. So you can't use Comic Sans, you can't use Papyrus. If there's a different one that pops in mind, then you can talk about that. If not, I've linked thefont.com, which is an incredible website that has tons and tons and tons of different fonts. And then fonts.google, which is where you can get into your Google fonts, which has quite a few, not nearly as many as DaFont, but you can look in those two places and find something, a font that you don't like, okay? And so something you personally would never use. But after you choose it, I want you to just snip a little picture of that font, paste that into your comment, and then I want you to defend why you believe that this should be considered one of the worst. Okay, so you need to really give me a reason. Try to not make the argument of it's just overused, because yeah, that happens. But is there a different reason why it reminds you of something, or maybe it's hard to read, that you would never use it? Okay, and so go into detail there, and that's going to be our weekly discussion. I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. We'll see if some of you guys have the same ones, or if we're arguing against each other of which one should be one of the worst. All right, going back to your calendar, so that's everything for Friday. On Monday, I have your assignment, and that is to complete the appropriate versus inappropriate redesign challenge assignment. Once again, back in Unit 3 where everything is. Here is that assignment. And if I click on it and I open it up, it's in Google Slides. And the directions are on the first slide. So right here, it says redesign the following 5 signs using type choices that are more appropriate to their labels. You may alter the font, sizing, color, boldness. Really, you can alter anything that's available to you in here. But be thoughtful about your design choices, and you will have to defend yourself and explain the choices that you make. So here is one of the 5, the first one of the 5, and you'll notice each of them is numbered, and they each have this really inappropriate design choice. So all you're going to do is come in here. Here is your design choice in the box to the right. You can hover over that. You can alter the size. You can alter, you're definitely going to want to alter the font. And so I would go to more fonts. And by clicking on these, you can add as many of these as you want. You can also go in and choose different fonts that you want to add to your list. Notice I use a lot of these. And then that'll give you way more options when you come up here. Obviously, I'm probably not going to use Comic Sans, to start playing with what font you want to change. Once you've changed the font, delete that text as well. You might also consider adjusting the color, or I don't know, if you wanted to even add an image in there, I'd be happy to see it. It's totally up to you what you want to do to redesign this sign. Once you're done, right here, there's 2 questions. And so you're actually just going to type over this writing. And it says, what about the original design was inappropriate? So I want you to look at that original design, and I want you to be thoughtful about this. Why is this text inappropriate for a massage parlor? Okay. Go into detail, give me as much as you can. Then down here, I want you to defend why your choice is appropriate. What did you do to change this? Why did you do that? Why does that work for a massage parlor like you see on this one, or a Harley-Davidson riding club, or an accounting service, as you can see from each of these? Okay, so you're going to do 5 of those and submit that. And that's it. So on Tuesday, I just wrote in that make sure you have all of those things submitted and you're good to go. As always, you can join in my office hours from 8:30 to 9 or 12:30 to 1 on Wednesday, Monday, Friday. I'd be happy to see you. Or you can send me emails, questions, whatever you like throughout the week. I will get back to you as soon as I can with that. One last thing, if I go back to Schoology, to make it easier, although hopefully you have this bookmarked already, this weekly calendar that I always refer to and that I update every week is now also just first thing on your Schoology page at the very top. So I wanted to make sure it is as accessible as possible. I will be working to grade your photography project from last week. I'm excited to see those, and have an awesome week.